Hi everyone and welcome to Tuttietalkssense, and I am Tootie. So y'all, let's discuss. Right, so I have been absent for a while. This episode is not any celebrity gossip. It's just a personal, you know, I guess they call it story time. It's just a personal episode about what been going on in my life. And I wanted to discuss this and then hopefully get back to the entertainment, the comedy, the celebrity gossip, the free flowing that I try to bring to the channel. But I wouldn't feel right without going on and discussing this part of my life first, because it is a very personal thing. So lately, I want to talk about dealing with grief. So I have lost my brother-in-law, who was also my friend. We we was sorry, I'm in my bedroom, so that's my baby trying to come in. I can't turn on my light. Okay, y'all, I'm back. I had to deal with my kids. I see some YouTubers, they'll record and they'll have the kids going in the background. And they be like, okay, babe, I'll be there. Let me get a minute. And they could go back talking. Not my kids. They ignorant. They gonna keep going and try to get on camera and everything. So, now I got to completely stop the video and then come back. I think they get it from their daddy's side family. They don't get it from me. So, this is a real personal episode. I'm in my bedroom. This is probably what y'all haven't seen this background before. But I'm in my bedroom. I'm in my sleeping clothes, and it's only like 6 something in the afternoon. I done worked. My mother-in-law is still in town because my brother-in-law passed, and they are here. They're staying here until my husband's birthday. So that's why I said I wanted to make this episode really personal. I said I would show y'all my room, but my room is a mess. But I said, well, I say I'm gonna make it personal if I'm not gonna show y'all. Y'all gonna be like, oh, you need to clean. But when you deal with grief, there's no look. I'm gonna blame this on grief right now, but to be honest, this is usually how my room look. I got 3 kids. I'm just grateful to have a house. I ain't got no rent. I got mortgage. So keeping it clean is just not a priority when we got 3 kids and you're doing all type of stuff, y'all. I'm gonna show you how that this is my real look. And look, look. That's loads of laundry that I haven't cleaned. Okay, and TV. What's that white bag? That's clothes that I got and still haven't put up. Uh, I like the bookshelf that's built into the wall. And look, like usual, you see that? My doggone cat. Right there. She stay on top of my thing, on top of my dresser. Because the dogs will come. We got 2 big old dogs. Hey, Cleo. Hey, girl. Hey, my girl. Hey. That's my cat, Cleo. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go back over here. Try not to keep my boobs up in there. Lay back down in this bed. So I said I wouldn't feel right with continuing on with the celebrity gossip without at least talking to address it, because I try not to address death, because in my personal life, hopefully I keep this channel going long enough where I drop personal stories about what, my life and what they led up to me being me. But I have had some tragedies and some things that didn't happen. So by the time I was 19, I had lost both my parents. My father passed when I was in the 6th grade. My mom passed when I was 19 years old. My it was going into my 2nd year of college. So I try to stay away from those subjects, because I like to keep my channel fun and cracking jokes and, from Chicago. I don't know if y'all know, Chicago roast with the best of them. Okay, get your big head, get your little lip. Hey, we roast with the best of them. Okay, baby? Bernie Mac, Chicago. We got some good comedians that come from Chicago because life is hard. You got so many things that you're dealing with in life that it's we like to laugh instead of, look at the tragedy and look at the woe it's me. I prefer to be laughing and in a joyous environment. So I didn't deal with death that was really close. And everybody deals with grief differently. And sometimes you don't understand how that person is dealing with grief or why that person is acting the way they acted. And sometimes, honestly, that person don't understand why they're doing it. But grief is it's a weird thing. And I know they have the 7 steps of griefs, and and then it's not from 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it'll be 1, 4, 7, back to 1. Then you go 2, 3. Then you'll go back to 1. So everyone deal with grief differently, and it's not linear. You know. So with honestly being black in America, we got to deal with a lot of things, a lot of stress, a lot of different things that's going on in our life, and we like to look at the fun and because when you have to deal with so much, and there's so much pressure to succeed, pressure to be successful, pressure to be a good parent, pressure to be a good person, pressure I'm a like good sister or brother or niece or nephew or contributing society, contributing member to society. It's just a lot that goes on in their everyday life. And I know that when death happens, typically it's unexpected. Sometimes you'll get someone's sick and you'll get oh, you got 3 months to 6 months. Or sometimes it's violent and it's tragic. What I have seen within this time, I want to say the end of October, into November, as far as what Offset, I want to say her name is Shanquilla, and dealt with my brother-in-law, who's very close. So I didn't even call him my brother-in-law. I call him my friend. Well, I would call him my brother. Usually when I introduce him, I call him my brother. Even though everybody know I have, my mom only had girls. I got 7 sisters. But him I would introduce as my brother. Because he was more of a brother friend to me than he was like in-law or anything. Thankfully, I got a good relationship with my in-laws. That most of them are that. But Tim, which was his name, it's still weird to say was his name, but Tim, he was very close. We had and it's if I stop this video and it get like you see a clip from me saying something and it jump to something else, I got emotional and I done stopped it and then paused it and then came back, y'all. So me and Tim was very, very close. He would we partied together. I'm a drinker. I don't smoke, but baby, I drinks. And I hangs out and I have fun. And I met Tim, me and my husband actually met in high school. We met in 96, but we knew each other all through high school. We had a crush on each other, but we never dated. So, Facebook came along. He slid in my DMs. He seen this. He was like, and I was like, So we got together, y'all. And it's crazy because he came from a big family. He has 8 siblings on his um, mom's side. He has 8 sisters and brothers. And I have 7 sisters. So it's like us being together. We knew that, what you call it, closeness, the sacrifice, that I am my brother's keeper type of thing, that a lot of us in the 80s, I don't know about you 90s and 2000 babies, but a lot of us in the 80s, that's how we grew up. With one fight, y'all fight. At the end of the day, this is all you get. So we grew up with that closeness of it. I have the previous relationship before him. Y'all, I hope I'm not stumbling my words. I did have little Tito's, but yeah, so the previous relationships before him, they were either only kids or it was them and a sibling. So I with my big family, sometimes it would cause problems because people don't if you didn't come from that same background, it could be difficult when you're with a partner who will drop everything at a drop of a dime for their siblings, especially your only child or something like that, and it caused problems. When we got together, it actually was good. So I was 28 when I bought my first house. I was proud of myself because I was, like I said, I was 19 when my mom passed. I ended up having my daughter when I was 20. I had the father who wasn't involved, didn't do anything. It was difficult. And at 28, I bought my own house, no help. I end up, he slid back in my DMs when I was 29. He was in my Facebook inbox and told me, "Hi, you remember me from high school? Yeah, I remember you." We talked ever since, and we end up getting together for dating pretty much. We've been together since. Well, we split for 6 months, so I shouldn't say we've been together since we split for 6 months. But I want to say maybe about my house at 28. Me and him started talking at 29. I want to say around 30, 31. Me and him moved in. He moved into my house, and my sister was here. My sister was here with her husband, and I was here with my daughter. He ended up moving in. Tim was living in another state, and he was having difficulties there with the person that he was living with. And he was like, "Oh, my brother's going through this, my brother's going through that." And I was just like, "Hey, your brother, but hey, tell him, come on." So he was like, "Oh, well, you gonna like him? I think y'all will get along." Tim's a Cancer, I'm a Gemini. We end up hitting it off phenomenally. Like, phenomenally. I told it was a ball. Me and Tim would go out to clubs. I would go up to Boys Town with him. It was a whole ball. So he drank. He kicked it with me. When my sisters then we would go wine tastings and stuff. My friends would come over. He would be all kicking it with the girls. Um, I got pregnant with me and my husband at that time. He was my boyfriend. But it had been, I want to say my oldest was 9 and his was 8, 7, but 7. And I decided that I want another kid. So we had planned to have another baby. And it was a difficult pregnancy. But Tim would cook every day because I was sick. I was on bed rest. Everything made me throw up. I was losing weight. In and out the hospital. But Tim was just like, "Nope, don't worry about nothing. I'm cooking every day. You need to take care of my niece." And he was there every day. And he was, when she was born, she was a little premature. Well, not much. She was 5 pounds and 3 ounces. And she was born at 35 weeks. But he would go, he went to doctor's appointments, and he'll be like, everybody like, he's the dad. He's like, "No, I'm uncle. It's Uncle Timmy. Timmy, 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 Timmy." I don't know why we said it like that, but that's just a little weird joke that we had going with each other. And he would sing to her, "Yeah, I wish I would have recorded." He was so tone deaf. It was ridiculous. But he loved to sing. Tone deaf like all, and didn't care about singing out in public and everything. So we'll be out at doctor's appointment and things, and look, and my daughter, she would cry. And so he'll sing to her to calm her down and everything. And of course, she was like every typical, I want to say around 3 when Frozen came out, favorite song ever. Sing it all day, every day. So when we go to, even as a baby, she's a little baby, just born, we had to go to WIC appointments back then, pre-corona, and they would still make you, after you just had a baby, in order to get that milk, they would still make you go down there to that first appointment to see the baby. I guess it's proof you didn't have a baby. I don't know. People scam and say, I don't know. So, and then doctor's appointment, I hated being cold. Absolutely hated being cold. So he would, and anybody who have kids, when they take babies' weight, they take off all their clothes. They would typically leave on a diaper if the diaper's not sword, then they'll take off all their clothes, and Arya would absolutely hate it. So we go into doctor's appointment, and Tim be like, yeah, no, 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 go ahead, do what you need to do, because my niece do not like being cold, and y'all not finna have her out here crying and doing all that. Get everything set up. I'll take off her clothes when you ready. Hey, he had it down to a T. And then he'll take off her clothes, she'll have a fit. You got that measurement? You got that measurement? Okay. And he'll take her, wrap her in the blanket, he'll sing to her, calm her down. Look like little Arya. My daughter was his, they had this very special relationship. And even my oldest daughter, which is that's not his biological niece, but they never treated her any different. So it's been a trying time because when my mom passed, she was sick for a while, but we have been through sickness with her for years, but we always assume she'll make it through that. But when my dad passed in his sleep, and Tim was only 38. So it just wasn't something. He had moved out, he had moved back, he had moved to another state. And so we would typically see him on holidays. And so um I was looking, his mom had just came up here to, what she was up here for. She was up here for the grandma birthday. The grandma had, her mom had turned 70. So she had came up here. She went back home that Tuesday. Tim ended up passing Saturday night. Mom had just went back home. I'm like, okay, well, when you're coming up, because Tim typically, come and he'll kick it. And, they usually stay here at our house when they come and everything. And I'm like, okay, so y'all not coming for Thanksgiving? And she said, no, we're not gonna come for Thanksgiving. We'll be here for Christmas. And so what would happen, like when he come, we'll talk about like all the TV shows, because we're all into TV shows. Supernatural. We're into a lot of zombies, action. We all had the same taste. So it'd be like, oh, have you watched this? No, I haven't watched this. How you watch this? And it's just a whole talking, drinking, catching up, having a good time. That was just our thing. That's just what we did. Listening to music, karaoke, playing spades. Like, it's just what he did. It's just what we did when he came. So that's what I was looking forward to for Christmas. So, she called November 6th, and it was a tragedy for me, and it was a loss for me. But he was a friend and brother-in-law, and I know him for 11, 12 years, and he was 38. And so I feel like that's more of their story to tell, and I don't want to be on here making it seem like my pain and my loss is more tragic than theirs. So it was just a lot that morning. Then the next day, right? This is Sunday morning, and so I had to call all the siblings because my husband just wasn't in the state to do it, and everybody came here, and so that day was a very difficult day. Then the next morning, um, my husband, like I said, we have two dogs. We have a German Shepherd, and we have uh, y'all gonna butcher me for this because I'm finna butcher this name. Precio Canary mixed with a pit bull. So, anybody who know what I'm talking about, it's a Precio Canario, I want to say is the name of it, mixed with a pit bull. Um, and so he let him out like he regularly do, because everything was, you know, we're trying to get up the next day and trying to continue life. And so he didn't take him on a walk. He just let him out in the backyard, let him want him run around and things of that nature. And y'all, both of them to get out. Both of the doggone dogs. Then somehow we get a vinyl fence around the entire yard. Both of these two big. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm getting tired with holding this. So both of them then get on out. So I'm trying to cover up some, yeah. Not trying to have all the big old, big old Tita Biggles, up in the camera. So My husband end up going out because these are actually his dogs. So he goes out. We find one of the dogs like 2, 3 blocks away. Another dog we didn't even the German Shepherd. She was only one. The one dog we had both their parents. The Itachi. My husband's an anime. We had a Itachi and Sasuke. For all who knows, that's Naruto. If you follow the animation, you know. On top of that, if not, you're like, oh, what are you talking about? So it wouldn't really matter for me to go through and explain it. But there's two brothers. So we had Itachi and Sasuke. Sasuke been get out, so we only had Itachi left. Because both of the parents had went somewhere else. And so we only had Itachi left. Itachi is like, I think 3 or 4. Itachi is. Haley, we named her from, she's Little Wolf from the originals, because Klaus would always say Little Wolf. So Haley, she's a German Shepherd. So we named her Haley from the originals. And so we found Itachi. We did not find Haley. So Haley, so my the one that I was talking about when I was pregnant, the middle baby, she was closer to Haley. So she came at night and she's just in tears. And she's like, "Ma," because anybody who know me know, I wasn't raised with dogs. So my husband is an animal lover. So, I compromise and sacrifice for him. So the dogs, I'm like, I can take it or leave it. But, I'm like, oh, well, they can get out and, must be God. So, because I'm ignorant, okay? Sometimes I am. But my baby came, she said, Mommy, first I lost my uncle, then I lost my dog. Life just ain't fair. So of course then I'm all on the internet. I'm looking for a dog and everything, y'all. I'm sitting up here every time I come home or go to lunch, go to the store, everything. I'm going through all these blocks it usually take me 5-10 minutes to get to the store or to work and everything. Now it's taking 30-45 minutes every day. And I finally found a dog. Actually, that Tuesday. She got that Monday. Found her the next Tuesday. Looking on the internet, check the shelter, end up finding her. Yeah, because I wanted to give some type of good news to my husband and to my kids. So we did end up finding her. I don't even know if I want to get into the story of what happened with the shelter. They tried to keep the dog. It was a whole mess. So I was like, I feel like now that these shelters is really out here trying to get money. And then you really out here trying to rescue dogs. Because it was a whole thing. And I don't know if it was because we was black or what it was. But the shelter that they end up going to was a fluent neighborhood. And how she got all the way over there. I'm like, how you get that far? Yeah. It's been a trying month. So we dealt with that. We end up, it took, I want to say 2 weeks. 2 weeks. They had to, gather money, get the body shipped from where it was at. We had the funeral. I shouldn't say we, because the one who got the money, they didn't want to put together the money. We just had the repast here at the house, but, financially, they pay for it. So I don't, I like to give credit and I don't like to take credit when there's nothing I have done to get this credit. And I have had death, but I haven't had death of a sibling. And I don't know exactly, this is the closest I done came to it and it feels horrible. And I said, so I don't want to say we, because yes, we are family, but I'm married into the family. And so my 11, 12 years does not compare to their 38 years. Well, my husband, 38, he's the oldest. His brother, Tim, he was the second one. So it doesn't compare to his years of knowing him and the loss that he has. So they just had the funeral. They had to pay for the body to get shipped here from another state. They just had the funeral Tuesday before Thanksgiving. and you see everyone is dealing with that differently. I also wanted to talk about uh, the grief of Offset, which was tragic, and it just seems like the details haven't came out about what was the shot that killed them. I couldn't watch the video because in 2015, one of my husband's other younger brothers ended up getting killed in somebody just tried to rob him, and he got killed violently. Um, so I just haven't brought myself able to watch that video with Offset. So the little part that I did watch, I said it seemed like some crazy Final Destination if two people were shooting at each other and he so happened to walk past at that exact moment where he got caught in the middle. I don't really know. But, and then Shanquilla with the friends, the young lady who was in Mexico, and her friends come home and tell her mom that she died of alcohol poisoning, and it actually wasn't alcohol poisoning. Her neck ended up being snapped, and then the video come out of the friend fighting her. And initially, with the video, I didn't even know that the girl was naked in the video, but they say that she was naked. But I was like, okay, well maybe the ones I was watching it was all blurred out, but I just didn't even pay any attention to it, and I was just like, this is like, it's so tragic because besides the fact that she was young, she's beautiful. I don't. Different people are saying different things, but what I did not like about it is it just seems like people was putting her name in posts and in YouTube. They probably was doing it to Offset too, but I know specifically with this girl because with Offset, I see there's more video to see what happened. This girl, there isn't. That you see the video before, but you don't actually see, when she dies. Not die. I hate to say die. When she was taken out, because I hate to say die because that ain't what happened. Somebody took her out, but you don't see that video, so it's more speculation as far as what then happened in between the last video, in between what the friend's saying, in between there's doctors saying that they did come see her. And then there's people saying that the maid find her. And then there's people saying that, that she died at the hospital. And they found her in a room. So there's a lot of different speculation, different things going on. And I actually don't even feel like the mom and dad have clear answers as far as what happened. So that was something that happened. But I feel like what I did not like is that there was a lot of people who was just putting her name in titles because her name was trending, and the video whatever didn't have anything to do with her. They'd be like, oh, jealousy about friend Shanquilla and put her name in. Oh, when people envy you, Shanquilla and put her name. I'm like, y'all is really, I guess because I didn't have so much experience close, with family, close family members to death. That that's just something that I don't play with, that I'm not trying to profit off of it. And because grief hits everyone differently, you don't know what your post, what this trending is doing to our actual family, and how they're gonna react to it and how they're gonna feel about it. So as I would, everybody react different. Some of them could be harmful, some of them could be hurting, some like, you don't know what there's that doing to her mom, what there's doing to her dad. I hear that knocking. Those my kids again, baby. I have to go get it because, like I said, they not gonna stop. Look, I had the door open. I had to lock the door.
Oh yeah? Okay, right
You're right, exactly.
Oh yeah?
I had to lock the, look at him. Try to undo my thing, yeah. Okay, y'all, I'm back. And deal with my daughter. She hilarious. But like, as I feel like it's disgusting that people are just like putting this young lady named Shanquilla this and Shanquilla that in the title just because her name is trending. And then I actually see some YouTubers are like, it's not even the profit off the name, it's the joy that they are trending because of her story. Like, yeah, y'all see, I had, even with the offset. And this YouTuber, I'm not gonna say their name because I'm not in the YouTube streets like that, so I don't really know people like that. So I have watched them initially, but I don't really watch them like that. So I don't really want to say the name, and I don't like shading. I'm about to lie if I say I don't like shading people. I do, but I seen that this YouTuber, like when it came to the offset things, was like, oh, what people is everybody. I think this YouTuber had went viral because of a clip, but people was like cutting his name off and the show off and not mentioning, not getting them credit, which I feel like is wrong. But at the same time, this is still a person death that I don't know if that's something that, you know, I would want to go viral for. And when it comes to Shanquilla, and y'all, if I'm pronouncing her name wrong, please say it in the comments. But when it comes to Shanquilla, I see people, you know, what I said earlier, they're putting it in the title. Oh, envious, envious friends. Shanquilla's death. Oh, jealous friends. Shanquilla's death. Um, how to deal with toxic people. Shanquilla's death. When you're the breadwinner. Shanquilla's death. Like, and they're just putting it in there just because she's trending, and so your video can get views. And I've seen some people even like brag about the fact that yeah, because I had did that Shanquilla, and you see my video is trended. Oh, you see, I didn't went viral because of what I didn't say. Like, are you not knowing that it's a possibility because you went viral and because of what you said that her family members is now saying this? And I have dealt with I should say because I don't like to involve myself in other people's story. I had a friend who then dealt with a violent death of her spouse when we were young. Got married young. He died violently young, and because I was her best friend, it, you do not know that there's no relief, even with my brother-in-law, because we don't know the cause yet. That there's no relief for the family when it comes to stuff like that, because everywhere and everything, that the majority of the people are not asking because they're concerned. They do my condolences, my prayers, but they're not asking because they're concerned. They're asking because they're nosy and they want to talk and they want to gossip, and everybody got their different stories, and especially when somebody did die unexpectedly or tragically. They got the different stories of what didn't happen, what led to it, and there's 101 conspiracies, and everybody want to tell you they 101 conspiracy, regardless of your grief and what you're going through. Everybody else want to get their opinion out there, what they think didn't happen, and what I didn't heard, and you know this and you know that. And if you're hearing that coming from the other side, the family, the mom, the dad, the sisters, the brothers, the wife, the husbands, the kids, like when you're hearing cousins, aunties, uncles, you're hearing this, and all you're doing, if that person is out, maybe trying to enjoy their day, maybe try to have one moment, because when somebody dies, that stuff is on your mind constantly. And you can watch TV, you can hear a song, and it'll all send you back into grief. So maybe that's that one moment that they have a time to sit there. Sorry, y'all. Maybe that's that one moment that they have a time to sit there and relax. They have the one moment that they're not thinking about it. They finna go on YouTube and find some entertainment gossip and find some celebrity gossip and find some, and y'all sitting here just it's everywhere. They can't get away. There's no escape. And all you're because they already trying to figure out what happened. they're already trying to, don't know. And then from what the dad interviewed and said, then had to talk to people, different countries, different languages, just to get her back here. Now the video that came out, they're just as confused as anybody else, but they have no release, no silence, and people are here to me. Seems like people are out talking about it to get views, or including her name to get views, or trying to put this fake concern where I actually see people like, hey, yeah, you see I trended, yeah, that was my story, and you see that this, they put my clip on this, and then like, but there's your concern is not with the family and what the family is going through, and getting to the bottom of, like, that's your fake concern, because the joy and your smiling, and I didn't did y'all see me, y'all, that was it's about you trending. But then you were like, because there was a tragedy, and so it doesn't seem like you're actually concerned about getting justice for this girl, about her family, about her mom, about her dad, what she done went through. From what I done heard, well, I haven't heard anything about kids, so I'm assuming that she didn't have a chance to have kids, because they said I would never get to walk her down the aisle. So, or I want to say she didn't have kids. So these I think the mom had other kids. I don't know if the dad did. So it seems like that was it. This was, like, that's it for them. But the like the most of the people, and I said maybe, I don't know. I said maybe I'll be different if I was actually popular or something. I got my little couple of subscribers. I ain't even monetized yet. I said maybe I would like to think I wouldn't. I said, because I don't know, money changes people. I said, so it's like anything for views or for clicks, for baits. I said, but you just don't, because I didn't have personal experiences with it. You just don't know what that's going to do to those family members. And if it was a genuine concern, a genuine, let's figure this out. Y'all know where these people at. Said, like, if y'all know where they at, call this number, turn them in. No, it was more of a, and did you see, and did you hear, and did you, like, it was a more of a gospel thing. It's to sometimes, I don't know what it is to lose a child, and God, I hope I never do. But it's, from other people that is devastating. And sometimes just mentioning their name will send them through a whole. My grandma's still alive. And we have to be careful with mentioning her. We have to call her. We have to call my grandma on my mom's birthday, on the day that she passed. We have to always check up on her, like holidays and everything. And she's sitting there, she's enjoying the holiday, and she's just, if your mom was here, instant tears. My mom been passed for 21 years. It's 21 years this year. And that hurt don't go away for parents. So where you is like, oh, my stories are trending. You don't know how that is affecting other people's life, especially parents. So hopefully you guys soon, I will get back to the regular gossip, not gospel. Because I think I do be preaching the gospel. Okay, amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let them use ya. But hopefully I get back to the gossip, to the entertainment. My brother-in-law, we was into manifestation and meditation, and we had started talking about that, and then the different crystals and things of that nature. So I want to get back to that soon, y'all, and I want to get back to what I was working on and making this channel something that you guys come to, laugh, joke, hopefully get some subscribers, make some money. Okay, I need some money. And get back to the light-hearted uh, channel that it was. But I just wanted to get personal for a moment. Let y'all know that this is life. This is real, and however you feeling, feel it for that moment. feel it for that time, and then get back on your grind. And hopefully, whatever, if you go through something, you can try to eventually find the happiness and get back to you. I have my girls, I have my husband, I have my sisters, I have my nieces and nephews, that is gonna miss my personality, and hopefully you guys will, miss my personality, and I want to get back to what I was, and I know my brother-in-law will want me to, because we stay laughing, we stay joking, so, but I would not feel right without coming and giving acknowledgement, first of all, for what I went through, for what my family is going through, and also acknowledgement to the people who have been there and the support that was given. And to say thank you all for that. And to be patient with me. And hopefully I will be back soon. I've been putting some little shorts out there. I hope you guys are watching it. Keep in touch. So, well, not keep in touch. Stay tuned because I hope to have more coming soon, y'all. And I want my t-shirt. I know I say y'all a lot, but from the South and from Chicago. So that's what we say. That's our word, y'all. So it's probably gonna be my catchphrase. I'm with y'all. But I'll talk to y'all later and stay tuned for more that's coming up. I just wanted to take this time out to get a little personal and say what was going on in my life and why y'all haven't seen me on here. But stay tuned. I'll be back. Y'all be easy. And I hope to see y'all soon. Good night, because I'm finna take my butt to bed. That Tito's and got me on.